It's time for WrestleShoot. The beast comes out in the dead of night. WrestleShoot eats a Tuesday night. Rob and Chris don't pull the punches, bitch. WrestleShoot. Breaking it down, WrestleShoot. Telling the facts, WrestleShoot. Stories on the road, WrestleShoot. That's our partner's podcast. No Carney ever escapes their sight. Coming at you live every Tuesday night. Hey, WrestleShoot. Anti-social network, WrestleShoot. Sticky and hot, WrestleShoot. Sometimes act like jerks, WrestleShoot. Always bringing all the guts.
All right, so here we are, boys and girls. We're back for another episode of WrestleShoot. I am Rob Wilds. This, of course, is the lovely and talented, the wildly popular, the fabulous, more fabulous than Fabio, my head life mate, Chris Casanova.
Thank you for the introduction.
And it's going to be a shitty fucking show, dude.
I agree.
Because today we are going to take a little time. We're going to talk about the man. We're going to talk about an icon that we, as a global community, all lost together. The great Hulk Hogan has passed away. And, of course, Chris, let me go ahead and play this. On with the show with the Pharaoh from the Monty and the Pharaoh Network. That's right, they are the Howard Stern of professional wrestling, Long Island and Miami, Florida's #1 professional wrestling podcast. Hey, buddy.
Go clap.
What's up, fellas? What's up? What a shitty fucking week. Am I allowed to curse? Too late, right?
Well, you're on the fucking antisocial network, so we typically don't like fuckers to cuss, but fuck it.
We don't pull punches.
What a crappy, horrible, gut-busting week. Losing the architect of heavy metal, losing the soundtrack to my youth, and Ozzy Osbourne of the Great Black Sabbath, and then Randy Rhoads. We know the story, and then the reason why wrestling is what it is today, the reason for everything. I grew up as a heel rooter. I rooted for heels with Mike when I first met Monty from Monty and the Pharaoh. We rooted for the bad guys, and somehow, seamlessly, this guy does what he does with the Sheik at Madison Square Garden up in the great New York City, and we are all aboard. All aboard. Imagine a nation that once upon a time had the nerve to actually still feel optimistic enough about ourselves, each other, and what's around us to believe in saying the prayers and taking the vitamins. And people who assault the man will never understand what he did for so many hopes and dreams of so many people. It was the character. I prefer to celebrate the character. The man I met was wonderful, but I still prefer to celebrate the character. Without that character, nobody has a company today. Nobody gets paid well at all. And they used to pray that they were on the card with Hogan. The
Yeah,
man.
I hear you. Before we get started, though, I have to ask an important question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, dude, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Dude.
Now, talking with Rob a little bit, I got to ask you, where did you come up with the name Pariah? Like, seriously, like.
Oh, you guys are back. You guys are back on that.
I'm trying to wrap my brain
I'll
around
tell you.
it.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. One thing's consistent. That West Coast water's got Rob tripping. I don't know what's going on over there. He's got all these delusions, homophobic dreams he shares with me and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to hear any of it. I mean, quite honestly, you know. So as far as Pariah goes, I do think it comes from Rob's delusional, demented mind, which I actually really like the demented part of his mind. So to me, it's kind of funny. But if you really want me to answer that seriously, because we tackle every fucking question on Monty and the Pharaoh, seriously, that was Rob's.
Yeah,
That's
I wanna
Rob's love
know.
child. Let him stroke it. Ask him. There you go. How's that? Is that good? I thought it was good.
That was a good answer.
Pariah, and I just want to know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Well, don't forget, Tony Garea has called me Jimmy Phantom. And that's cool because I'm almost dead anyway. Look at me. You know, so I was like, wow, Tony Garea called me the Phantom, Monty and the Phantom. So, like, there's all sorts of different things you can do with my shtick. And I'm pretty proud that people, look, imitation is the best form of flattery, isn't it? So, I win.
yeah.
I'm good. That's fine.
I mean, yeah, even Ron Shaw told him what a stand-up guy he is. Ron Shaw, you twat. He's such a bad word.
Shaw. Love Big Ron.
That's awesome.
All right. So,
All right. Any other ridiculous questions? You might as well get them out of the way now, so we can give proper due to Terry Bollea. Or anything else silly, Rob? You got any fantasies you want to share with me or anything like that? What's going on?
you know, if you give me a minute, I'm sure I'll come up with
I'm
something.
sure you will.
Rob's pretty delusional a lot of ways, so it's
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
Chris,
that's
fuck
the
you,
best
dude.
part.
You got to stand by one of us. You can't turn on both of us, you prick.
No, he's Switzerland. Switzerland were geniuses in World War II. Have you ever read about them? There's a reason why they call people Switzerland. Switzerland was brilliant. They played both sides. They were like, what's in it for me? I understand you two got a beef with each other, but don't get me involved. And he did this with both sides. And they made money. It's been done before, Chris. Don't feel bad. It's been done on a much larger scale. You're okay. You're okay, kid.
So let's jump right into then. You know, you might have a couple of years on each one of us. So let's go back to the beginning of your memory of not Hulk Hogan, but Terry Bollea breaking into the wrestling business.
the man himself.
Well,
He was there from the start. He's that old.
I was there from the start, but understand, even then, in those days, in the late 70s, when I'm first becoming aware, it's the Bruno to Superstar Graham transition. And Hogan is just starting out his career. And amazingly enough, when we had Tony Atlas on the other night talking about it on our show, Tony talked about those couple of years, 77, 78, before we get to see Hogan on a main level situation where he first comes to Vince Sr. That's when I first get to see him. In the internet days, you could just see anything you want at any time. In those days, our only source was the pro wrestling magazines. That was our source. So I would read about this Hogan, but I had not seen him. I finally got to see him on a black and white television in late 79, early 80. He came out with Fred Blassie, and I was like, oh my Lord, what is this? What is this? You know, like, I knew right away that he should be a guy with the belt. Backlund was champion, and Backlund had been torturing me for as long as I could remember. Little did I realize it was going to be years more of Backlund torture before anybody took the belt off him finally. It would be Hogan ultimately after Sheik, but you knew then. And I got to see matches very early on with my father at the Nassau Coliseum, where I was in the second row, and Hogan slammed Andre. He came into the show as the bad guy with Blassie, and he slammed Andre many times before WrestleMania 3, many times.
Well, lots of people slammed Andre before Mania 3.
Yeah, sure. But the nation had never seen it. Look, it was like, again, pre-internet days. you've got reliance on wrestling magazines. There's no internet to go to. And those magazines were great. So when Hogan came and then he left, and I was like, why did he leave? And he didn't win a title. I was like, as a fan who doesn't know much at that point, just through the mags, you're frustrated. You're like, what? Where did he go? Why did he leave? You know? The next thing I know, he's doing the Rocky 3 and he's in the AWA after. And I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm not getting to see him yet. There was no AWA on cable up in New York yet. I had Georgia Championship Wrestling, I had Florida, and I had bits and pieces of California.
That's
That's what I
back
had.
when you could buy the real footage of it, right? The
Right.
actual on a reel
Yeah.
through the wrestling magazine.
If you did something fancy and did it through the mail, but those
Yeah.
weren't even offered in the top shelf mags, by the way. You had to get one of them curveball mags to get that. Not in the Wrestler or Inside Wrestling, from what I remember. You know, you really had to get an offshoot mag, like the Rings Wrestling magazine. I don't know if you remember, but the Rings Boxing, which is a very famous magazine, back in those days, they had a wrestling version of it. So that's probably somewhere you'd find something like that. But you, kn- I knew right away with Hogan. I watched him in Rocky 3. I like prayed for him to come. And I scratched my head. I didn't even see it. I should have seen it all coming. When you look at things today, you can see everything coming. A lot of the time you can. But
Yeah.
when the Iron Sheik, when the towel is thrown in, and Bob Backlund, after torturing me and Mike for 5.5 years, this wasn't like a couple of months. This was my entire junior high and through high school.
You wear
And
black.
Iron Sheik's the guy that's going to beat him? Of all the guys that Backlund turned away, the great Greg Valentine, Don Morocco, Sergeant Slaughter, Mass Superstar, I could go on and on. Oh my God, the list. And it's Sheik who wins it. I'm confused.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Hogan arrives, and it's like, oh my God. Vince saw what nobody else could see. You know how frustrated I was as a fan from afar, reading about how the AWA he had won the belt, but then he hadn't. And I'm like, why? This
Yeah.
guy made me a fan when he was away. I don't even get to watch this guy. That's how polarizing this man was. I guess that's what I'm trying to hammer home here.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't even watch him anymore. I can only read about him in the mags, and I'm still getting that emotional, like, why? You know? And when he showed up, I was like, oh, that's why. You're hired.
Hired. Yeah,
Wow.
hell yeah.
It was
Babe
uphill.
Ruth. He's
Now
Babe Ruth.
my first experience with Hogan, the very first experience I ever had with him, is what immediately, as somebody that tall in life, that immediately sent me on into becoming a pro wrestler. Because when I saw him, he was on the reel. And one of the neighborhood dads had ordered that reel of WrestleMania 1. So they were watching it in there, and I was out playing. All the neighborhood dads were watching it. And by the main event, they're all on their feet, and they're hooting and hollering, screaming and carrying on and having a great fucking time. And I passed through to see what's going on, and there's Hogan and Piper doing the throwing heat.
Yep.
Bam, 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 bam. And I froze. And this immediately hit me as Superman and Lex Luthor, good versus evil, like the real deal happening right in front of me. This isn't a cartoon, these are real people. And I asked him, what is this? And he told me what's happening. And then I saw Mr. T in the corner, and I was a little kid, 18, ooh, Mr. T. So after watching the rest of that match and seeing how Hogan and T go over, the reaction of the crowd, the heels peppering out, I looked at my dad, that young, and said, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up. And he wanted to be a good dad, so he chuckled and rubbed my hair. Of course you can. You could do anything you want to do. And then I did it. He's like, son of a bitch, you really actually did that. What about you, Chris? What's your first memorable Hogan?
So mine was honestly with King Kong Bundy. That's when I first got into wrestling.
At two?
The WrestleMania 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
WrestleMania 2. And in fact, it was probably about a month or so before WrestleMania when King Kong Bundy gave him the avalanche, a couple splashes, and supposedly busted Hogan's ribs up. I'm like, wow, this is freaking scary. And King Kong Bundy was this monstrous, well, back then it's a bad guy, obviously a heel. And yeah, I was like, wow, Hogan needs to come back, and he's the hero. And so I was hooked after that. I wanted to see Hogan get his revenge on the guy, and I watched him and King Kong Bundy in the cage. It was freaking
Awesome.
and the slam, like, because King Kong Bundy said, "No one can slam me, no one can slam me," and freaking Hogan did it like with no problem, and I was freaking hooked after that.
And
So
the thing with me, going back to WrestleMania 1 was
yeah,
I saw that with Hogan, right? And I was mesmerized and I was enthralled. The very next time I watched wrestling, although I was watching it because they said Hogan's going to be on it, watching the rest of the cast rolling out,
yeah, yeah.
and they all hooked me. But if it wasn't for seeing Hogan and Pipe, that one moment in my life, I wouldn't have stopped and went, whoa, and then given it more opportunities and fallen in love with the supporting cast of what is, let's be honest, from WrestleMania 1 up to, I guess, what, 8, 9? It was the Hulk Hogan show.
9. 1 through 9.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was the Hulk Hogan show. And then he came back with Rock at 18, and he made it the fucking Hulk Hogan show again.
Oh, see, the guy is Babe Ruth, and he really is. I mean, and every Batman needs a Joker to originally tell his great origin story, which was, of course, when he dealt with WrestleMania 1. The Super Bowl for wrestling was created with the idea of WrestleMania 1, and Piper was the Joker to Hogan's Batman, and it was the perfect formula. But without WrestleMania 3, it doesn't become the Super Bowl that it is today, because that was basically Roman Coliseum stuff.
Yeah.
When you have Hogan and Andre standing in the middle of that ring and he's looking up at Andre and the crowd, you are never going to get a bigger moment ever. I don't care what you give me. And you can give me a lot of great stuff that deserves to be in that penthouse, but without that penthouse moment in front of how many people? I love how to this day, let's argue about it. It was really only 79,000. It wasn't 93. I don't give a shit. That place was fucking packed.
Yeah, who
I don't
gives a
care
fuck?
what way you try to spin it to me. God, are we that desperate to hate on the company? I'm like, stop. That was the Super Bowl moment changer. That was here you go, Rob. I'm going to give you an open door. That was Joe Willie Namath, the first polarizing NFL commercially successful figure, running off the field, waving his finger. That's what Super Bowl 3 was. That's what WrestleMania 3 was. Uh-oh, there's a symmetry in number now. What's going on here?
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
follow that one up by saying, like, one of the great ones, Paul DeMarco. We were having a conversation about WrestleMania specific main events, and he cited 3 being the biggest and most popular one
The most important one.
because it was, quote, biblical.
Yeah, it was.
David
Agreed.
and Goliath.
I agree.
The biggest actual man-to-man contest the world had ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It was the greatest matchup ever. And then there's so many pillars in his monument. I mean, there really is. And then there's the whole feud with Macho that comes after. Oh my God, that feud with Macho is one of the greatest feuds ever. The I Hate You Hulk Hogan promo, where the coke is like pouring off his face and onto the floor, and he's just filled with rage. And I mean, but he really is.
yeah.
But he really is. And Hogan, I mean, the whole mega powers and the breakup and the oh my God. And then here comes Warrior, another pillar. What the hell? I still remember being with a bunch of friends at WrestleMania 6 party, and everyone in that room, everyone is rooting, as they probably should have at the time. I get it. Warrior. And I'm the one guy rooting for Hogan.
Short pillar, man. I'll say that. Short pillar. Pillar was very, very short.
Yeah, but that match itself is legendary, and that's what I'm getting to. The
Level that he built himself to, that Warrior built himself to with smoke and mirrors, he got himself to be looked at as possibly every bit as great as Hogan.
He was right there.
Once, of course, he
was right there.
And smoke and mirrors won't do anything anymore, is when Warrior washed out.
I remember when Warrior won the match, everyone in the room was just thrilled. And I was the one person standing there, and they were like, oh, come on, Jimmy. I was like, let me tell you something right now. I guess this is where, you could say it's like the nerdy wrestling fan, like trying to keep the gate. but the keeper of the gate shit. But I was like, let me tell you something right now. The guy who just won is not going to be anything in a few years, and the guy who lost is going to continue to write the
Sure.
script for the ones who write the script. Because I knew Hogan did him a massive favor that night, the same way Andre did Hogan a massive favor at WrestleMania 3.
Well,
Hogan,
he did more than just gave Warrior a massive favor
yeah,
that
he
night.
did, though. He did.
He did more than that because he didn't just do the honors like let me hand you the torch. He took a sack of shit and carried a sack of shit through a
Yeah.
4-star match.
It was actually a great match. They told a great story, and that is to Hogan's credit. Look, and that's where that gets lost too. I love these internet, look, Hogan had plenty of hate before the obvious things he's hated for, whether it's politics or insensitive comments.
Yeah.
They love to tear apart his in-ring stuff, and these are the same people who are such purists and don't, at the end of the day, the wrestlers they all seem to preach and love take the following path. And you tell me if Hogan didn't do this. Start off the hard way. Go to a dojo where you're really going to get hurt. How about getting your leg broken by Hiro Matsuda? Let's do something like that, for example.
Sure.
Okay, let's go there. Let's go to Japan and learn how to chain wrestle. Anybody ever seen those videos? No, of course. Well, so I hope you guys have by now, after all these years.
Watch
But
his
Hogan-
match with Ray Buddha. Watch his match with
Hogan could wrestle if need be. Look, nobody was going to declare him Kurt Angle, but Hogan could wrestle much more than given credit for.
Oh, of course.
And when you wind up with 12 back surgeries or lower spine surgeries or whatever the amount was that he said, if you look back on Hulk Hogan in the day, when he would do the leg drop, bro, he's up there.
Yeah.
He's up there. He's up in the air, man. And it's going to hurt him a lot more than it's going to hurt the guy at the bottom, so.
And the thing that people bash on Hogan the most for is being just ruthless, right? And every time I hear that, and I remember saying this to Honky Tonk's face, where he's like, hey, Hogan's just out there cutting throats to keep his spot. And I said, wouldn't you? If you had Hulk Hogan's spot, wouldn't you do anything to keep it? I would.
Right.
I would.
You're changing wrestling. And it's funny, like, yeah, sure, it's his spot, but that's like underscoring what his spot is because of who he is to the sport. His spot is changing wrestling, and he did it more than once. When he does the heel turn, he changes wrestling again. There's no Monday Night War. There's no Attitude Era. There's no. He does it.
The Rock wrestled.
He does it again.
So, Jimmy, sounds like your favorite Hogan Mania is 5. Mine is definitely 6. Chris, what's your favorite Hogan Mania?
Honestly, there's a lot of them to mention. I can't really put a favorite one. I'll put Andre because that was the cliche go-to, but I'm going to say The Rock and Hogan. And the reason why I say that is...
he's stealing my thunder because 5 is actually not my favorite Hogan moment.
Oh,
18,
it's The Rock.
18 with The Rock is. Go ahead, Chris, please. Go ahead.
Because, look, Rock was the hottest thing ever. I mean, and Hogan comes out, WCW, out of the NWO, and Hogan's supposed to be this big old heel, and The Rock's the big old baby face, and they're gonna face each other, and it's gonna be, passing the torch type thing. And Rock, man, they're booing the fuck out of him, and all the fans are cheering for Hogan. Hogan has that glow to him, he can just gravitate fans towards him. And the middle of the match, they had to change the way it was going to go. They just had to. They were not cheering The Rock whatsoever. And fuck, that says something about Hogan. That's WrestleMania 18. That's 17 or 16, 17 years after he's worked Andre the Giant. He's still relevant to those fans.
It is.
And that tells you something. A legend does not die. A legend lives on forever through multiple generations.
All right, so let's switch gears here because all of us guys sitting here are on completely different ends of the political spectrum, right? But we all have that same love for the Hulkster, and I believe that translates anywhere. But so I would consider myself a centrist, and I of course lean left, but I would call myself a centrist. And I'm watching the liberals absolutely slaughtering and disrespecting Hulk Hogan. And I don't understand why. Okay, so Chris,
I can tell you why.
Well, hang on. Let me just put this out there because what they're doing is they're not slaughtering Terry Bollea, the one they're actually angry at, right? The man who is Republican, the guy who supports Trump, the human being that goes out and votes. They're mad at him and they're feeling betrayed by him because Trump got elected and the liberals all see him as the worst thing since cancer. But to lash out at Hulk Hogan, the character, the icon, the one who literally, Hogan did more than just go to the ring and entertain you. He changed you. He inspired you. He gave you, the Hulkster commandments, brother. He pushed positivity and unity. And the character himself should not, nobody should really be crucifying Terry either. But to lash out at the character of Hulk Hogan as MAGA and to boo him in California as if he is the embodiment of MAGA, I think is horrific. And for the party who's supposed to be all about sensitivity and respecting people, and they've just gone completely psychotic.
Both sides, they're hypocrites. I mean, I hate to say that, but yeah, it's all about peace and loving people who they are and blah, blah. It's all bullshit because what it comes down to is that he doesn't support their political agenda. And now they're going to dig up all this stuff. Oh, he said racist comments multiple years ago, or he's at Trump's rally. Fuck off. Who cares? I bet you none of them none of them are perfect either. I mean, we're all human. We all make mistakes. I think it's fucking bullshit. They need to separate the two, and they can't because they're pissed off and they're crying because their candidate did not win. That's what it comes down to. Is let's crucify everybody that's voted for Trump, and that's what it comes. Bottom line. And I'm not saying the right's perfect. I mean, they all got their issues, but yeah, fuck that.
But to follow up on that, to boo Hogan at WrestleMania because you're liberal, you're primarily surrounded by liberals, and you want to vent frustration and anger. People I'm sure had senses of betrayal by him appearing at the RNC and whatnot. But after the man has passed away, that's when partisanship has to be taken out of the mix, because they're trying to taint not who, but what the man actually was. And what he was, I think, the most impactful entertainment figure we've ever had
in wrestling. Right?
What do you think, Farrell?
Yeah, I want Farrell's opinion on this one.
Well, first of all, everything you guys have said, and I do know where you both stand because I'm familiar with some of you guys' thoughts on these touchy subjects. You guys better be careful because you sound like you could get thrown into the MAGA thing. I mean, hell, Donald Trump has been thrown in with Adolf Hitler in the same sentence. I was raised in a Jewish family. You want to run that one by me again? The count is 6 million to what? Why am I hearing that in the same sentence? But anyway, those names should never be in the same sentence is what I'm saying, okay? When it comes down to, look, you guys went there, so I'll just tell you how I feel about it. I'm being from New York, but living in Florida and being born in Florida, they couldn't be more different as far as their take on things, all right? But I find it kind of ironic. This is why the election turned out the way it did, and that's why I said be careful with what you're saying, because what you're saying actually makes realistic sense. Now, my whole life, I've been a realist, but when you're a realist that looks at life the way I do, especially if you've had Ozzy as your soundtrack, I believe in chaos because chaos is the ultimate. It's going to happen. The human race cannot avoid it. We do it all the time. One way or the other, we find a way to do it on whatever spot of the globe. Close your eyes, point to the spot of the globe, put your finger down. You'll find a dictator. You'll find something. You'll find something that happened either a long time ago or currently. You're going to find something.
Sure.
So I, unfortunately, and this is with much respect to Rob, because I know how Rob feels about a lot of stuff, I unfortunately have been forced emotionally and spiritually, I'm going there, to cling a little more towards conservatives because they will say, you know what, no one's perfect. And we all fuck up, get over it. And you've got this Hogan attack. Hogan is one of those people you can attack, so let's attack him. Don't you think a lot of people are tired of this fucking nonsense? So what you guys are saying makes total sense, and I think that's why the election turned out the way it did, because the whining, the unrealistic whining that's going on, and then calling for the heads up. Look, I've seen some people that have actually written they're happy Hulk Hogan's dead. They're going to
Yeah,
dance on his grave.
it's horrible. It's
All
ridiculous.
right. Now, I'll take it one step further. During the time that Barack Obama was president, and I told anybody who would listen to me when he was a senator, I was like, "This is the next president." And when he became president, and he was president for 8 years, doesn't matter whether or not I agreed with him on anything or everything. I never once, as an American, and he's my president, would ever wish violent harm upon his body. He is the head figure in one way, shape, or form or another of my country. So we've got some people that are happy with people being shot at and stuff. This is very fucked up. I'm very sad that Terry Bollea's last experience in front of a crowd at a WWE event was in California, where they took a massive shit on a massive legend. There's my answer.
Disrespectful.
That's my answer.
I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Chris, what you got there?
Well, I already told you what I thought.
I said what you got there.
Oh, well, I am holding
There
praise
we
to American legend right there. This is real American beer by Hulk Hogan here.
Wow.
It's
How is
gone.
it? How is it? Is it
Terrible.
bad?
It's terrible.
I'm gonna
Really?
It's
Wow.
it's not a bad beer. It's not
Yes,
a
it
great
is.
beer. It's right in the middle. Like from 1 to 10, it's like a 5 or 6. It's not bad.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
Bush beer level beer.
So it's like 80s kiss pop metal glam shit. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
no thanks. I'll pass.
Yeah, you do yourself a favor. Yeah, it's not. We did it just to review it. I couldn't get through one whole one. I gave the rest away to a homeless guy.
Wow. Did he throw it out?
Oh, he was psyched. It's funny too, this guy, because I walked in. I said, "Hey, man, do you by chance like Hulk Hogan's Real American Beer?" And he said, "Yeah." And his homeless girlfriend there goes, "Have you ever actually had that?" He said, "It's beer." So he was happy as hell.
Did you ask him to sing the song first to get it, or did
No, here you
like
go.
the theme song? You
You
know.
go, I'll sing it to you while you drink it. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah, he's gone too. By the way,
I
Derringer
know.
also recently. Rick Derringer, who did the
Really?
music. Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, he's gone too. They're all going. That's why Jimmy Hart's standing there, the poor man crying. I was like, oh God. I've only met Jimmy a couple of times. Jimmy's very sweet. But the deeper connection was his friend J.J. McGuire that he wrote all the songs with. That guy, how long have I been doing this, right? I wish Mike was on right now. We've been doing this for we're in our 8th year. And I can count on one hand the guys that would actually call me and want to talk about shit. And it was JJ McGuire. I guess because we're both musicians, but JJ was,
Yeah.
oh my God! And he wrote, a lot of the stuff that you heard, like the Sexy Boy guitar solo and Demolition and all that other. He was involved in all of that stuff with Derringer,
He did a
So
lot of songs for them.
yeah, Hogan was everything, man. Hogan just made everything that Super Bowl level, because that's really what Vince was looking for. He was the E in entertainment. I think, ironically, it's funny how Vince had such a Midas touch, golden touch, that even things that didn't fall in his favor. You ever think about this? World Wildlife Fund sues World Wrestling Federation.
Yep.
Vince loses the case. He loses. He probably didn't really want to lose, but you know what? Maybe he did. Because in the back of his mind, it's always been about the entertainment, which he planted the first seed when you got Liberace and Muhammad Ali running around with Mr. T and Hulk Hogan and Roddy. So even when he loses, he wins.
Oh, hands down. He's a winner.
But the thing is, there's just no way that Mania was Mania if they had anybody but Hogan in that spot. It
Oh,
wouldn't
no.
have-
No. Vince
No.
knew it.
Yeah.
Hogan knew it.
Vince McMahon created what professional wrestling. Vince took an industry that was definitely circling the drain. It was losing popularity, territories were decreasing, and he took a huge risk and he recreated an industry, but he needed the right one to recreate it with. Hulk Hogan comes along. Now Hulk Hogan was burning up, dying, circling the drain industry. He was dominating it. So when they came together, it was a very natural, very smart business pairing for both of them. Even if those guys hated each other, they were perfect for each other.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah.
It was a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm, is what it
Yeah.
is. Because
can't
you
choose
got
better.
you got the genius pressing all the buttons, and you got the workhorse, and don't let it be lost. Hogan's schedule, and again, Tony Atlas like slammed this home the other night on the show. Hogan's schedule, and I loved how Tony put it. He's like, we'd do our match, we'd all go back to the hotel afterwards. You know what the guys do when they go back to the hotel? They have a drink, they see the ladies, they do wrestling rock stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hogan is working. He's still on the clock. He's talking to Vince. He's planning for the next morning. Like they said they would check out the next morning. Hogan would have been gone for hours.
Yeah.
He'd sleep in the car. He's like the Beatles. He would sleep in the car and sleep in the locker room, maybe before, he had to go out. That was when Hogan got to sleep. He'd curl up in any car he would get in because he was always in a car. That's how John Lennon described Beatlemania. They said, how's it going for you? A car, a window, a room, a window, a car, a window. That's how it's going for me. And that's what Hogan was able to do. He was the workhorse. He was the guy putting in all the hours so the business could succeed through Vince's vision, so everybody else could get a bigger paycheck, and everybody else did.
Janetti told me that when Vince always got a Cadillac, obviously, but if it was going to be him and Hogan and one other person in a car, Vince would try to get a conversion van that could lay out so Hulk could sleep because he hadn't slept all night. He was up doing out-of-state pressers all night on the phone.
Yeah. I mean, how tired did Hulk Hogan look in his later years? Like the bags under his eyes? He didn't have them like that when he was younger. That guy hasn't slept since 1984, brother.
It was a really nice tribute that they did for Hulk on, WWE.
Yeah.
And they were really proud of themselves with the photo that they picked of him ripping his shirt. It's iconic and instantly recognizable. Hulk Hogan could be wearing a dirty hobo Vietnam trench coat and a fucking baseball cap, and he is instantly recognizable. There was not a person on this planet who was more widely instantly recognizable than the Hulkster.
Absolutely. Well, it's like Bobby Heenan used to say, whenever you worked Hogan, you made money.
That's right.
Regardless, whoever you were. Hogan thought he could make money with you, he would work with you. Now, a lot of haters on Hogan, because there's a lot of them out there, including your boy Paul Roma. But the guy...
Wait. Stop right there. Hold on a second.
What that?
You're kidding when you say that, right? That's not Paul. He's not Paul Roma's boy, is he?
Fuck Paul Roma.
Fuck
you, Paul Roma.
All right, good.
Fuck you.
But
punk ass, bitch ass motherfucker.
It's bullshit because they never had the opportunity to work him because Hogan didn't think they could make money together, and now they're gonna hate on him.
Hold on a second. Does Paul Roma really think for one fucking second, even 1 millisecond, as a real professional wrestling fan, that's a match I longed to see?
No,
is
of
he
course
fucking
not.
nuts? Is he fucking nuts? No,
the fact of the matter is, and you know what? We've given Paul Roma entirely too much fucking press since he started running his cock holster on Hogan. To the point, Pharaoh, where I stepped up and said, Hogan's not going to respond to you because you're not worth his time. I do think that you're worth my time, Paul. So I'll step into Hogan's place. I'll fight you in a cage for Hogan. Now, he never responded because Paul Roma is a punk ass who knew Hogan would never fucking respond, who was just trying to get a little bit of that Hulk dust sprinkled on him because you are a forgotten horseman. You are the most irrelevant motherfucker who ever worked for Vince. You're garbage, Roma, and I want to fight you even now. So fucking much for the disrespect you ran on Hulk. I am triple fueled and triple angry. Everybody sitting in this room, everybody listening right now knows you're a punk. and you ain't going to respond. So, Paul, after today, you ain't never getting a cunt hair of a second more of publicity from us than you already have. But let me go ahead and share this with everybody one final time before we get rid of it. This is basically what it's going to look like if me and Roma meet up in an alley. You little punk. This is where you go nanite, bitch. That's right. Fuck him. Paul Roma, you're fortunate. You're fortunate that you got to get the last little dash of Hulkster dust that you could possibly get before the legend, the hero, the icon passed away. And you worthless little punk, the whole internet knows I'm calling you out to a legit fucking fight for whatever charity you want. Basically, what you were challenging Hogan to, I'm accepting for the last time publicly. We got to move on, fellas. Sorry, I'm about to fucking flip out.
Is this a bad time to mention that Lance Storm is a shriveling penis himself? Is this a bad time? Because he can go he can go
What
on and play some pocket pool because he said some bad shit about Hogan too. Lance Storm.
Really?
And I thought to myself, because it's funny too. I'm a huge ECW fan. It's been noted on the show over and over again for years. I love ECW, and I always liked Lance Storm. But as I'm reading this little, getting back to show some class. What's with the fucking keyboard pounding whiny shit? We don't like that. I think the country's starting to try to tell certain people that, And there's this fucking whiny bitchy shit going on, and I'm like, and I thought about what Steve Austin said. And all those years of watching ECW and thinking Lance Storm was kind of cool, as I read this little whine bitch rant was gone. Because Steve Austin basically pointed out, you're boring. You're really boring, and you're boring me right now. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah. And Hogan's not even cold yet, and you're taking the time at this point in time to do this.
And
Fuck
who the
off.
fuck are you?
That's the whole thing. That was a sad reality. It's really sad when, look, I love wrestling. Lance Storm, Lance Storm's a dude I watched on television. That's cool. I love it. He's cool. Yeah. And then I got to fucking read this. And that's why, thank God, that class acts like Joe DiMaggio passed away before this day and age. Thank God. Thank God. Oh my God, he's preserved. You understand what I'm saying? He's preserved. Thank God, because they've tried. They've tried to find dirt with Joe. What are you gonna do? Oh no, he paid for Marilyn Monroe's funeral. I guess he's real. Shit. There's no shit on this guy. What do we do now?
Oh no, he goes and delivers flowers to her grave every year. What a bastard.
I know. Nah, he was one of the
Wow.
last great American. What would the internet do with poor Mickey Mantle? You think Mickey Mantle would be allowed to exist today? Going out with the boys, with Whitey and Billy, having punch outs at the Cotton Club or wherever the hell they were doing it, drinking and shit. You think Mickey Mantle's allowed to survive today?
Well, let's change that one to what would happen if Gorgeous George had the internet?
Ooh,
Gorgeous George was the internet, and what I mean by that is it's funny you brought him up. That's the reason why I watch wrestling, because my father grew up in the '50s when people were first getting television sets, and Gorgeous George was Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
You have to understand that the ratings in those days were the highest for professional wrestling and like the news and the Tonight Show, where there was Jack Parr or whoever it was at the time. This was the things people watched.
But my point of saying what if the internet was around back then was
George
wouldn't have had an opportunity to become who he was.
No, he would have been canceled. They would have been all over him.
It wouldn't even been that. They would have exposed him because he did the flamboyant, right? People think I'm gay, so they hate me. They would have blown him out. No, he's with girls, and his whole gimmick would have sank. The internet tries to kill everything.
They do, and they have succeeded in killing everything. Music is killed. Rock music is killed. It's not about going to the live shows anymore, and it's not about buying their out. Look, this is going to sound really controversial, and I don't care. I've been writing songs and been in some pretty good local bands. Look, there's a lot of people in New York, and if you're accomplishing the top level in New York, even if it's just New York, it's New York.
It's pretty impressive.
And you can't do what you used to be able to do. Everything that I hated as an artist that did well the old school way, the way they used to actually do this business too in wrestling, where you earned your keep, you paid your dues, you put in your mileage, and if you were good enough, somebody was going to figure that out. Now, all of a sudden, Napster comes around, and Lars took such a hit for it. Lars was like, "Why are you taking my work?" And it is work to a musician. You think it doesn't require work to write master of fucking puppets? Are you kidding me?
Tons.
Get out of here. It is work, especially to those who are on a Beethoven level, and they were to their craft, to their level, they were. So it's like, you can't just take my shit. And that's what we've had going on ever since. How the hell did we get into this anyway? Anyway, that's what's wrong with the whole thing to begin with. As you said, the internet is killing everything.
And to go back to your point real quick on it is real work. I got a good musician buddy from back home I'm still in touch with, and we were listening to One, and we're a little stoned at the time, and he goes, "I'll tell you," he's a music theory guy too.
Oh, sure.
I'll tell you what, dude. If you gave me a pen and paper and said take one and lay it all out on paper, I would not know where to start. It's such a complex piece of music, and that means it was a lot of work for somebody to do.
Oh
yeah. As most heavy metal is on paper. When it comes to rock music, ever since Elvis Presley came around, all the way through the grunge and whatever we've had ever since, different forms of variation and such, it on paper, heavy metal music is the closest thing to classical, which is the most difficult form of music on paper. On paper. That's why heavy metal is so impressive to me, and that's why it has staying power, and that's why Ozzy was so incredible. Ozzy stepped in shit more than once. He had Tony Iommi, and then finds some sober kid who doesn't do any drugs and has the perfect rock look in Randy Rhoads. And then the afterthought, if your afterthought is Jake E. Lee, and then you get Zach, oh my God, this guy just kept stepping in shit. That's due to his wife, who I've had a lot of bad feelings for over the years. But you know what, though? Ozzy knew he was going to go. He knew it. It doesn't have to be confirmed for me. You could tell that he knew. He got to preach his final sermon, give his final eulogy to all the people who loved him, his fans. Who else gets to go out like that? $190 million raised for charity, and behind it all is the same woman who sometimes I've wanted. It's the Yoko Ono feeling is so equivalent, but without her, none of this happens. So I need to shut the fuck up for a little while. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. See, that's when knowing not to be a whiny, bitchy. Let me attack Sharon anyway. What? That's a douche move.
Don't be a Lance Storm, okay? Don't be a Lance Storm.
Don't be a Lance Storm.
Lance
Storm. Let's just go on the record. Everybody could agree. Lance Storm, you are a shriveled up, teeny peeny. You fucking dick. That's like if New Jack were to go start talking shit on Hogan. Who the fuck? Or Vic Grimes. Shut the fuck up.
Vic Grimes. Oh boy.
I'll tell you this about Lance Storm, dude. He was a great worker.
He was.
That's it. He was shit. He was the shit for entertainer. He was shit on the stick. Like he was terrible. Like he had no charisma. He had nothing. That's all you were, just a worker. So shut the fuck up, Lance Storm.
They got it right with him for just a short time period, and I think it was in ECW when he would start with and point his finger and go, "Let me be serious for a minute," and I would go, "Okay, all right, that's good," and he would get in and get out. That's when it was right. Leave it alone. That's another thing that's funny about wrestling. They don't know when to leave something alone. They can't figure out, okay, we found it. You don't have to fuck with that. They do. That's happened a lot of times to a lot of different people over the years. It's like, well, why'd you tweak that, or why'd you fuck with that? You know, it was working.
Be what you are, dude. Don't go. You can't go beyond what you were, man. That's all he was.
I feel like we're getting pretty long in the tooth here, fellas, and we should probably start taking it home. But I want to touch on one more point here, and that's all of you fuckheads who are putting those hateful things up about Hulk Hogan, he's dead, one maggot down, blah blah to go, and just all that bullshit. I want you guys to think outside the box a little bit and look at what Terry Bollea is. He was a husband. He was a father. He was a business owner. He was a community leader. He was a very good friend to people. Look at how devastated Ric Flair is. Look how bad off Jimmy Hart is. Even Beefcake is breaking down over it, and they were on a falling out. This is a human being who died,
Who
and
did
he
a
was
good.
also a human being that impacted your life for the better in some form.
He did a lot of good in this world, and that's the thing. It outweighs the bad, in my opinion. I mean, he went to children's hospitals. He was helping the sick. I mean, he went to charities. I mean, he did a lot of stuff. Did he say some controversial things? Of course he did. But the good outweighs the bad by far. And so I say this to you people that are hating on him. Stop being fucking jealous. Stop being a bitch. Stop being a baby. Like the guy overall was a good person. And we lost a legend that changed the business. No matter how you spin it, he changed the business from little territories to entertainment. He changed it overnight with the slam. After the slam on Andre, boom, they went mainstream after that. So you can't top that. You can't. That's my final say.
And real quick before we jump over to Pharaoh for his final thought, if you are actually a professional wrestler and you said anything negative about Hogan's death, shame on you. You should be drummed out of the business forever. You have no place here.
Yeah.
Pharaoh, take us home, baby.
Well, Babe Ruth is gone. Babe Ruth is gone. Okay. Babe Ruth just left this week. Without Hulk Hogan, you do not have a professional wrestler breaking the plane of being the first professional wrestler on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You do not have a wrestler on a mainstream super blockbuster movie, as in Rocky 3, crossing a line where other wrestlers will go later. You do not have the feel of the Super Bowl equivalent for the great sport of professional wrestling without WrestleMania, without the first nine, without the foundation, without the pillar of everything, Hulk Hogan. You do not have the greatest heel turn in the history of this business, forcing
Oh,
the Attitude Era, forcing the Monday Night Wars. You do not have those things. You do not have them without the great Hollywood. Because I've changed, brother, Hulk Hogan.
I did it for the money.
And just when WCW had demised and Vince had won the war, and everybody thought that Hulk Hogan was the cancer and the reason why, and he's this and he's that, and he has no gas left in his tank. 70,000 people decided WrestleMania 18 that Babe Ruth has come back home. And we are not
Yes.
going to root for The Rock, no matter what the script said. Now, this didn't happen back in those days. Say what you will, but once again, at what age is this man once again changing everything? Changing everything. He was the blueprint for everything we know, brother.
Wow.
Brother.
Well
Well,
said.
guys, we're going to take this one home. Thanks for hanging out. Next week, we may be showing a WrestleShoot retro, re-showing a classic featuring Madman Pondo, unless something else tragic fucking happens to the wrestling world.
Don't jinx it,
Then
Rob.
we'll
Don't
be
jinx
back.
it.
What's that? Don't jinx it. No shit, right? This is WrestleShoot. We are here on the Antisocial Network. Check us out on our YouTube channel, at ASN for life, brother. Hogan style, ASN for life. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. Go over and check out our homeboys at the Monty and Pharaoh Network. Where can they find you, brother?
Thursday nights on YouTube, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, and you can figure out the rest. How many hours are you behind? 3. So you're 4:30, something like that.
Dude, I'm in Florida, dummy.
Oh, I keep forgetting. Why do I associate you with California? It must
I
be your
don't know
posts.
because I'm awesome.
You guys get together. Beef or
All right,
express.
guys. See you next week. The
Thanks
week
for having me
after.
on, fellas. Later.
Latest.